Broadcasting from www.jiggyjaguar.com.
Okay. That commercial break caught up to me quick. It is the world famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast. We are live coast to coast and border to border on iHeartRadio today. Yes, Spotify. Oh, we're going to talk about Spotify here in a few moments. Talk Shoe. And, of course, you can get a hold of us online at jiggyjaguar.com. We're also on castbox.fm, whatever the hell that is. Twitch live stream as well. Add us as a friend on the old Twitch. We need friends because I got to get to the next level on Twitch, whatever the hell that is. I got to get to the next level. And I need you to add me as a friend on Twitch because I need to get to that level. On-demand podcasts available via TalkShoe, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. 50-plus AM FM stations across the country and around the world. You can find us each and every day at jiggyjaguar.com. In this broadcast, we will chat with somebody about something. That's the best I can do until I can find my sheet. We have Frank Bernuccio at the bottom of the hour. That's all I know. Well, I do know that it's a good idea if you own your own content to continue to keep owning your own content. Fairly recently, the old Spotify, those guys, they went out and they gave the guy from News Radio a bunch of money. And that guy, Joe Rogan, they went out and gave the guy from News Radio some money because he has a podcast. And apparently it's pretty popular. And so they gave him $100 million. He then moved to Texas to avoid paying his taxes. I mean, freedom. Freedom! So, he moved there. And now Spotify has all sorts of problems with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan basically is making a lot of headlines recently. He recently apologized for spreading misinformation about the Oregon fires amid Spotify employee backlash. This comes from our friends at Business Insider. They're not really my friends. They don't even know who I am or exist. Podcast host Joe Rogan apologized for echoing false claim that left-wing activists have been arrested on suspicion of setting forest fires in Oregon. In a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Rogan referenced false reports of a left-wing extremists setting fires and reports that the FBI had confirmed to be untrue. And on Friday, Rogan posted a video on Instagram, which he said he was duped and wanted to make a public apology and a retraction. And of course, he did that on social media. He didn't do it on his actual show, or anyone would hear it. The podcaster called the mistake irresponsible, and he promised to take the incident into account when reporting future stories. Rogan has also been in hot water this week after facing criticism about segments deemed to be transphobic by some listeners at Spotify, with which Rogan has a streaming deal. Some employees have pushed leadership to address the criticisms. Oh, that $100 million. It's pretty sweet, isn't it? Until you're told what you can do and what you can't do with your content. Oh, Joe Rogan, News Radio man. So now, Joseph Rogan, the guy from News Radio, has got some problems with Spotify. This comes from Forbes. Joe Rogan's Spotify debut sparked speculation over missing episodes. This was the first thing that happened. Joe Rogan's Spotify debut, which was the beginning of this month, has sparked intense speculation from fans as several episodes appear to be missing from Spotify's new Joe Rogan Experience channel. Scanning through the list of absent episodes, a pattern seems to emerge. Kevin McGinnis, Alex Jones, Stefan Molyneux, and many other figures associated with the alt-right are currently missing. Most of the absent episodes, but not all, feature highly controversial media personalities whose appearances on the podcast were heavily criticized. But not all the missing episodes feature guests obsessed with skull shapes, IQ scores, and interdimensional Illuminati. Documentary filmmaker Louis Theroux, a pot activist Tommy Chong, and comedian Nick Kroll are also missing from Spotify. Mikaela Peterson, famous for being Jordan Peterson's daughter and promoter of a quick diet that literally consists of beef, salt, and water, was initially missing from Rogan's Spotify channel, but her episode was uploaded a few hours after this was put up there. Strangely enough, Alex Jones spoke up to calm the fan base with an uncharacteristically, easy for me to say, of course, level-headed analysis that didn't involve time-traveling child molesters or even human-animal hybrids. Jones claims the missing episodes are Rogan's favorite 100 episodes and will stay on YouTube before eventually migrating to Spotify. Perhaps Rogan really is moving away from the baggage of his past. No. I'm not. No. Okay, so now comes the next story. Now the Spotify employees are now fighting. Spotify is now fighting with the employees about hosting episodes of Joe Rogan's podcast considered transphobic. Spotify is wrestling with the employees' concerns about how the company is handling episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience. Spotify CEO Daniel Ek addressed concerns at an all-hands meeting on Wednesday. Ek said Rogan's podcast had been the subject of 10 meetings and told employees not to leak to the press. Spotify is facing a heated internal struggle with employees over whether it should host episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience that some staffers described as transphobic. Vice said its sources shared questions that had been submitted for the Q&A portion. The questions, which were shortened to the name of the JRE, suggest that friction is building between Spotify's leadership and its staff over the podcast. Here's my view on this. If they don't like it, they can leave. There are plenty of people that will take their job that have more experience or can be trained to have more experience than them. You don't like it? Get out. However, many of the LGBTQAI plus ally Spotifyers feel unwelcomed and alienated because of leadership's response. What is your message to these employees? Another red. Joe Rogan and the episode in question have been reviewed extensively. X said in an all hands, according to the report, the fact that they weren't changing their position doesn't mean they aren't listening. It just means we made a different judgment call, which means they gave Rogan the money up front. This week, Rogan made headlines after hosting an episode where he recounted a joke in which he made the baseless suggestion that Caitlyn Jenner's trans identity was somehow inspired by the Kardashian women. Jenner and the LGBTQ rights group, the Human Rights Campaign, condemned the segment. Rogan, who has 9.5 million subscribers on YouTube, signed an exclusive deal with Spotify in May. This was seen as a huge win for the platform as it builds out the podcasting empire and competes with Apple, Amazon, and Google. The back and forth indicates Spotify will increasingly have to deal with monetization issues not dissimilar to those at social media companies like Facebook and the Twitter. The company doesn't feature older episodes of Rogan's podcast featuring Alex Jones, whose own podcast got booted from the platform for breaching its rules on hate content. And it has removed some episodes featuring far-right figures. Oh. So what do we learn from this? What have we learned from this? Is the money that important? I guess that's what we've learned. Quite the deal. Okay. So, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have got more coming up on the other side.